Hello, welcome to this edition of Momentum. I'm happy today to be joined by Ms. Bethany Mills. Bethany is relatively new to Mississippi State this time, but she is the executive director of the Mississippi State University Career Center. So we're going to talk to her some today about how she came to be here and what the Career Center has to offer. So Bethany, welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Good, glad to have you. So I know most people go to a career center to get a job. It sounds like you went to a career center and got a job working in a career center.
That's right.
How did that happen?
Yeah, it's interesting. I feel like a lot of people have in their career path some moment of happenstance, or they happened upon something. And for me, it was realizing that I wanted to get my master's degree in counseling and needing an assistantship. And there was someone already in the Career Center completing their assistantship. And they said, you know, you should reach out to Bethany Bagley, my maiden name. I think she might be interested in working here, and she'd be really great. And that led to a phone call, an interview, and then the next thing I knew, I was a graduate assistant at the MSU Career Center. So that's where I was first employed, you know, in the career services field, and got my first kind of taste of what the field looked like in general. It was great.
Okay, and then you left and went somewhere else, and then we were fortunate enough to get you back. It was a little over a year ago, I
that's
think.
Right.
So yeah, so happy to have you here.
Thank you.
I know when most students hear Career Center, they think, oh, that's something I don't need to worry about until I graduate.
Oh yeah.
But we know that you offer much more than just helping find a job after graduation. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about what the Career Center can do for students.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, certainly if we were to look at the population or the class level that most comes to visit the Career Center or participate in our activities, it's going to be our juniors and seniors, mostly seniors. But we certainly have services and resources for first-year students and second-year students, as well as, of course, juniors and seniors. So we might have those students in their first year, or maybe even some transfer students that come in and they're still trying to narrow down their major and their career path and really what they want to do. So we have a career advisor that's dedicated to working with our undeclared or undecided students on campus. They can come in, take a career assessment, do some exploration to maybe feel a little bit more confident about their decision. So everything from major exploration to I really want to narrow down my career and the career path I want to go into, to helping with mock interviews. We have lots of mock interviews that we conduct at the Career Center. Of course, any kind of document critique, so that's resumes, cover letters, personal statements. Often folks don't think about those students who are going on to graduate school, but we help them as well. So we can critique those statements for them, make sure their application materials are all ready. So we really want students to engage with us as early as possible because they get exposure to what exists out there through the exploration activities and workshops we have, and even through exploring our career fairs that we have, because we do have several of those that go each academic semester. So there really is something for everyone in all class levels. Oh, and I also want to mention we've got a great career planning class as well.
Okay.
So that's for those undecided, kind of not unsure students as well. That's a great resource for students on campus.
And you also provide some services to alumni as well. I suspect a lot of alumni don't know what you can do for them. So what can you do for them?
Yeah, absolutely. We offer the same services for alumni that we do for current students. Certainly, you know, we're not resourced to just like really put those services out there a lot, but we definitely see alumni. In fact, I got a phone call the other day when I was kind of manning the front desk operations for someone who is interested in taking a career assessment because he's mid-career and thinking about a change and kind of unsure what he wanted to do and needed a starting point. And so I referred him to take a career assessment. We scheduled him an appointment. And so that's an alum, for example, that will be coming back to get some services that we offer at the Career Center. So for sure.
Well, I know for engineering students, you not only do a great job in helping them find a career and a job after graduation, but your office also handles co-ops and internships, and we have a large number of our students who do that. But one question I'll often get from students is, which should I do? Which is better, a co-op or an internship? Can you tell us some about the differences and which you think might be better?
Absolutely. It's a great question. And there really are some kind of technical parameters around what defines a co-op and then what defines an internship. So a co-op experience is going to be for that student who can commit 3 co-op rotations with the same employer. That's ideal. So that might look like a student coming in and they interview with Raytheon and they get a co-op with Raytheon for summer, then the fall, they take a break in the spring to come back and take classes, and then they complete that next co-op over the next summer. But as long as those 3 rotations are complete with the same company, that completes a co-op experience. It's paid, it's 40 hours a week, a typical work experience that they would get. It's paid really well, actually. So that's a really nice perk for co-op. And then also a lot of our companies help with housing as well. So if a student's interested in co-op, they should just know we have a class that holds their spot at the university. It puts their financial aid on hold. It helps out with some of the technical parts of moving away from campus to then come back. And so our office is an accredited program, the co-op and internship office in McCain, and so they can really help with all of those specifics. Now for an internship, those are kind of the one-off experiences that a student might want to have in their college career. So that could be, you know, I'm kind of still deciding within marketing, for example, you know, if I'm wanting to go into more marketing research or more kind of communications and marketing. And so a student might have an internship one spring or one summer that's with a company fulfilling that kind of role, more marketing communications, and they might choose a completely different company to see how that marketing research fit might be. So those are going to be those one-off experiences they have. Again, we have a class that holds that spot for the student so they can feel comfortable about completing that internship. But we do have criteria such as the internship needs to be connected to their field of study. There's learning outcomes and objectives, and there's an agreement that the employer signs as well as the student. And also, I would say students should check with their department or their college, because there could be internships for academic credit, and those are ideal. So I think those are a few considerations to make when you're thinking between co-op and internship.
So one question I'll often hear from students, and maybe more often from mom and dad, is, sounds like that's just going to extend how long my student is in school.
Yeah.
What's the best response to that?
I think it's true. You know, I think maybe how I would reframe that answer is to just say, you know, you're right. It probably will extend their time at Mississippi State, but it will also enhance their resume. It will enhance their network and their ability to showcase and to talk to an employer about how they've applied the skills that they've learned in the classroom to real life work experiences. So my guess is when that student is ready to graduate and go on to their first full-time job, they're going to have a lot of skills and abilities and hands-on experiences. They're going to get snatched up by that employer pretty quickly. So it is some things to think through, but it might be the payoff is worth it in the end. Yeah.
I know one of the things I tell them is look at it from this perspective. When you graduate with a year's experience, and you've made money while you were in school.
Exactly. And some students use that time in that co-op to help them pay for school.
Right.
So there's a lot of benefits to a co-op for sure.
So of course, to get jobs, we need to have employers.
That's
so
right.
What do you have to say to the employers who might be watching in terms of what they need to do to work with you to interview students for jobs?
Absolutely. I think for an employer, we're always going to encourage them at the Career Center to start with a centralized location, which is our centralized Career Center on campus. So what we can do is get them plugged into our online recruitment platform, Connections, powered by Simplicity. And it's free for employers to use. They can post jobs through Connections. They can schedule on-campus interviews through Connections. That's how they'll register for career fairs. They can, you know, potentially ask for resume books on students through our platform as well. And so we've got kind of this all-access centralized platform for employers to use. And then we also work with our departments and colleges to make sure the word is getting out, that they're looking for these students, they've got these open opportunities, and hopefully to help them kind of get the talent they're looking for in those roles.
You've mentioned career fairs several times, and I know your office does a great job of bringing many employers on campus to interview students. What advice or recommendations do you have to students in how to prepare to go to that career fair?
Great question. We actually were recently looking at some survey results that we took from our employers who were kind of giving us some feedback on student preparation. And they overwhelmingly said that our students are professionally dressed. They've got a resume ready. Most of our students come across as very professional and respectful, and there's an authenticity. These are some of the words that they used. But one theme that kept coming in our survey was our students weren't very prepared in researching companies. So, I think it's pretty common. Some students will come and they might find out about an employer that they didn't even know existed.
Yeah.
So that's one reason we have these career expos. But for those students who really have a narrow focus and they know the companies that they really want to work at, they should be doing a little bit of legwork on the front end to prepare, do a little bit of research, find out about the company, open positions, so that conversation could be a little more fruitful for them in finding their next career. So those are a few things that I would suggest. Of course, resume, professional dress, but come prepared with a little bit of information about the companies seeking them in their particular majors.
Okay. Well, I know you just completed the First Destinations survey for the year, and you drilled down into some of the data for engineering.
Mm-hmm.
What are some highlights of that for engineering students you could share with us?
Absolutely. I mean, I believe our College of Engineering was at 94% career success rate. And that is defined as those students who are seeking full-time employment, graduate professional school, are volunteering in a service program or organization, or in the military. And I think that just says so much about the caliber of students and the talent that we have, but also the preparation that's occurring in the classroom. And the experiential opportunities that our students are really taking advantage of. So lots of local Mississippi employers are recruiting those students in the College of Engineering. Everything from, I mentioned Raytheon, gosh, there's a lot of our employer partners. International Paper is a top employer. There's several companies that are out there recruiting our students. And there's a lot in the Huntsville area as well. If we're going out of state a little bit as well. But I think one thing that I noticed is if they're staying for graduate school, the majority is staying at Mississippi State. And I think that's a point of pride too. There's a continuation that students are wanting to have in their education and preparation.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I want to thank you for all you and your staff are doing for our students. And for our students, I'd encourage you to get in touch with the Career Center earlier rather than later, and get ready to help them work with you in finding a job. And the same with employers. Please register so you can have easy access to our students. But Bethany, I want to thank you for joining us, and I look forward to seeing the rest of you on our next edition of Momentum.